Perfect.
And what's going on, guys? Technical Stinkers here, checking in on our little 3D print operation for the day. If you're new to the channel, uninitiated or unfamiliar, I do 3D printing here at home. Stuff to improve my life, fix stuff around the house, sell on the internet for money, or just show off and exhibit. If you're interested in any of those things, or just generally having a good time, be sure to subscribe to the channel. What have I got going on today? All the printers humming along, even the lowly Soval SV08. It's been long dormant. It's Rip Van Soval. But we got it remeshed and we're doing a print now. And I was like, wow, all these printers are moving and grooving. I better vlog because I actually have something to talk about. Let's check in on the Soval. We'll start there. Looks like our first couple layers are down, looking pretty good. This is for the gate project, and I'm gonna go through that just a little bit. Ongoing process. If you've been watching the vlog, you're familiar. I'm doing these statues for the top of my driveway gates. And we'll get to that. Let's look at the other printers first. Over here on Cobra 2, another couple cable raceways. Previous vlog, we were printing those for at work, the office. We did a big renovation there, and I got new desks for everybody, but they need cable management. So we've got some prints going there, and I was remarking in the previous video, and as I was editing it, I thought, man, that's a great concept for an actual, vlog, like just talking to business owners, small business owners, that maybe aren't into 3D printing at all. Like, it's kind of a good tool to have in your business, whatever your business is, in case you need cable raceway holders or cable bushings to go through the desk, or a lot of these have to do with cables because that's on the top of my mind right now. But there's lots of uses for 3D prints. So like, a really user-friendly 3D printer, something bamboo-esque, probably a great idea if you've got a business, just to be able to stamp those things out. Not something that would require a lot of tinkering or expertise, but bamboo machines, man, they're really user-friendly, and I could see that being like no one take that idea. Probably already done. People have probably already done it. Cobra 1 starting out over here, we're doing one of the first designs I ever did. And because it's better to have scenery change among a video to keep people engaged, let's go see what that is. So one of the first designs that I ever did was this little drip tray for our espresso machine. You can see here, it's seen better days because someone put it in the dishwasher and they weren't really aware that you can't put PLA in a dishwasher, but they know now. So this one's a little warped and it's a little undersized. I hear you, cat, it's feeding time. It's undersized, to be honest, because this tray is really meant to catch ground because, again, we go through so much espresso. When it's grinding up in here, the grounds have a tendency to kind of fall out, and we're kind of crazy about cleanliness here, and we want to catch all those so we can kind of rinse that off in the sink. So what I'm doing is I designed, put it up here in Tinkercad editing mat, a bigger Breville tray. It's also got a little spot here to hold the tamper, because this one has the double-sided. It weighs a lot, spreads out evens out the grounds. Just a little spot to put it there, a little wider, a little longer, should fit right underneath there without issue. That's going up there on Cobra 1, about 500 grams, about a 13-hour print. I run the Cobras really slow because it's better to run them slow. Over here on the P1P with our new fancy double AMS, I noticed everyone's getting the Sunlu dryer for their AMS, and mine kind of looks like that, but it's not that. Mine's the opposite of that. Mine makes it wetter and more humid or something like that. Got our time lapse here going, another plate, a fresh plate for the Mira from K-Pop Demon Hunters there, because my Roomy short still going gangbusters, over 200,000 on that, 500,000 views in just about a little over 2 weeks, almost 3 weeks. So that's going great, getting a lot of subscribers there. And if you're watching from that short, this is what I normally do, not K-Pop Demon Hunter stuff. It's more of the behind the scenes thing. So I'm hopeful you're actually watching this and maybe being entertained, I don't know. Over here on the Flash Forge is printing off some of these this morning. So I was talking previously about wanting to time lapse stuff on the Orange Storm Giga. So I made this very simple bracket with the GoPro mount on top. This one's done at a 22.5 degree angle. That way I can clip it in and kind of orient the camera a little bit. I've got the straight one on here now, Currently doing a time lapse for the second Griffin statue because the first one came out pretty good. But that base is giving me a lot of problems. Let's go check it out. We have an emergency here. Yeah, we gotta get him in the shade. Well, if I can, come on, can we capture the bunny? Come on, buddy.
See the other under there? Both of them under the branch.
Freaking side quests, man. We got our big Griffin statue here that we were looking at last time, and we were talking about needing a base for it. So I got this base printed, but I went to test fit it, and it's a little big. So I tried shaving off the corners. Actually, turns out I was about 10 millimeters over on one dimension. Just overlooked it, but we're printing a replacement. That's what's printing on the Soval, but we could take a look and see how it's gonna fit. So this square part obviously goes into the post. These Art Deco-y parts go on the front to kind of fill the gap because it's an oblong sort of shape. So this fits down in, Griffin statue on top, screw holes in the bottom to secure it. Then we'll prime and paint the whole shebang to kind of give it a little bit better of a look. Something bronze or whatever, but you can see it's you know, sizable. So working on that currently. There's other things we have going on over here on the A1. We have bushings. These are, well, yeah, I guess bushing is the correct term. I'm just gonna drill holes like at the desk at the office I was talking about earlier, just basic, you know, boring 3D prints. Those I'm gonna drill a hole so they can put their cables through the desk, but instead of just having like this gnarly hole in a wood desk, these little bushings will go in there, give it a nice little bit of a cleaner look. Also, Cobra S1, been working on that since yesterday. You saw the previous vlog where that rolled in and took it out, and doing just a video on it. They don't have any like super specific criteria, but Anycubic did send me 2 of the Ace Pro material systems. You know, this was comparable to, you know, multi-material system. I don't want to say the other word because their word for it is the Ace Pro. Got a lot of notes on this printer. I've been reading of what other people say about this printer. You know, I'm giving it its due diligence in terms of like how it performs, but running into some issues, I guess you could say. And you know, that's for the other content, but as vlog viewers, we do a sort of a behind the scenes thing here, and you know, it's just kind of a bummer because I want printers to be really good because it makes my job easier, the vendor's happy, you know, it sells more for them, I get more commissions, and you know, it's a good positive partnership moving forward. So, you know, when maybe you run into stuff that isn't as ideal, and it remains to be seen, you know, maybe things will pan out. You know, it kind of sours things, and there's a compulsion there, but you know, I can't, you know, I can find the positives in a lot of things, but you know, having a lot of issues with this, with the Cobra S1 so far. So working on that, and over here about to finish the parts for the K-pop Demon Hunter short. Again, I know I've been talking about it a lot, but this is sort of a behind the scenes thing, and you know, media is the big part of it, and you know, we're getting all the parts printed here. Heavy layer height because I'm trying to do this fast, but cleaning these up, a lot of issues with flushing volumes. These things are a nightmare to paint too, because when designers design these organic models, they're not thinking about FDM, they're thinking about resin, or not thinking at all. They're just trying to get it out and get some sales. So some flushing issues here, you know, maybe the flesh colored on her little midriff here is kind of like tainted by black, because you could see the difference here, like her legs were just done in pure matte desert tan. It's a little bit of a color difference, and man, she got some long legs. Look at her go. As far as other shorts go, put out a short today, just trying just a lot of basic stuff. Little 3D printed ocarina is a very popular model on all the major print sites. I've gotten actually pretty good at it. Ready? I know that's the only song I know so far, but this came out pretty good. The time lapse on it came out pretty good. Having a lot of success with those bamboo time lapse dongles on both the A1 and the P1P. Not sure if you can hear that from over here, if my mic picks it up, but again, one of the things, I'm gonna address it in the video, the Ace Pro, when it changes filament, it sounds like there's a small woodland creature inside of it. Maybe it's one of those rabbits got inside of there. Well, now I'm worried about the rabbits again. How are there people in this world that don't like little baby bunnies? And again, as vlog viewers, you guys are fantastic about watching the vlog because I see comments come through on vlogs and people addressing questions that I pose to viewers from questions I ask like really deep into the video. And it's just kind of like, oh my God, people are actually watching that long of the video. Thank you very much for doing that. But kind of another thing, I plan to do another content, and it's likely I'll shoot that content way before this vlog comes out, so I can't really gauge the feedback. But what I'm thinking is, I turned off my Etsy. Well, I have my 3D models still available for like $1, all but 3 of them. One of them's like a what, you know, a really sort of model. But just kind of removed everything. I removed all my eBay listings. I removed all my Etsy listings. Maybe the Hornet Nest is still up. The Hornet Nest is still up, but I raised the price by $10. So it's $50 for a Hornet Nest now. And so that's like over a $20 profit if I sell one of those. And so I don't know that I expect to really sell many of those, but it kind of prompted larger questions, and I started doing some tabulation, got my abacus out, did sort of a spreadsheet and started scripting a little bit about turning off my Etsy page. And again, I know I harp on this a lot, and I don't want to alienate people, and I don't want to throw shade at people. I'm not looking for beef with anybody, but I know I harp on it a lot that 3D printing as an actual business, meaningful money, isn't really, it's not there. It's not possible. Well, it's possible under certain circumstances, but for most people, it really isn't possible. Kind of doing it from this perspective of, you know, you can't really scale up into it because I spent all morning trying to get ChatGPT to make an animation of a guy, a little stick man, walking up the steps. And that's kind of my analogy for it is, you know, scaling up a 3D print business, really any business, but specifically 3D print businesses, it's kind of like walking up steps. You know, you're scaling, you're getting bigger, but then eventually you come to a big gap in the stairs, and the next step is like 20 feet high, and there's just a big chasm below you, and you have to find a way to jump up there or get up there. And the analogy for that is usually money or some other kind of investment or quitting your job or things like that. What really prompted that was someone came into my comments on a previous vlog where I was talking about that. There's no meaningful money in it and whatnot. Someone highlighting Dance at 3D Prints. If you're not familiar, go subscribe to his channel. He operates like an actual print farm, hundreds of machines, or over 100 mostly bamboo machines. And he's printing Slinky Dragons and little bit bop toys that go inside eggs, stuff like that, the popular stuff that, you know, a lot of people seem to print. And he put out a video recently, and I hadn't seen it until that person commented, that he made, I think it was $16,000 in a certain number of weeks. And the math on that suggested that's revenue. It comes out to about $150,000 a year should he sustain that those sales figures. Kind of knowing what I know, being in business, like $16,000 is a lot of money just you know, by itself. But when you start putting it into the context of a business, which he has a commercial space, he appears to have employees, overheads, things like that. When you start getting into those numbers, it's really not that much. I do know he does spend money on ads. I'm not sure how much exactly, but even if you go into the overheads, and that's what I was doing for the content, just putting together a table, being extreme generous on the figures, basically no cogs, you know, very low on everything. But then as you tick along and you start accounting for fees and taxes and stuff like that, you can kind of see the money whittling down considerably. And so that $16,000 over that $150K in sales a year, it's really not that much. And with my analogy of the stick man walking up the steps, that jump is kind of showcasing the ceiling that I feel exists in the 3D print for money space. If you're really trying to do it as a business, and you're just 3D printing stuff and selling it on Etsy, eBay, your own site, whatever, that big jump is could be a number of different things, but mainly having employees, because you're only going to be able to print and serve and pack and ship so much stuff by yourself, assuming this is like your only job, before you have to get people to help you. As I've said before, I don't really consider anyone to be in business until you have properly executed W-2 employees. Hiring on an employee, even at part-time, the expense is considerable. And so you have to get yourself to a multiple of that money that you're making when you hire the employee on, or less when you hire them on. You're not going to be making any money for yourself whatsoever as you pay the employee, and then you've got to really make sure that you're scaling up and growing to then start paying yourself again, and then the process repeats for employee number 2, 3, 4, etc. All the while, the stuff that you're 3D printing and fulfilling doesn't really have a shelf life, or it doesn't. That's what I'm asking. You know, slinky dragons and fidget spinners and that kind of stuff. You know, are you going to be able to print that for the next 20 years consistently, reliably, confidently, and continue to make the sales that you're on? You know, you're going to be forced to innovate and stuff like that. So I'm giving away the whole content now, but that's kind of what I'm looking at and been working on, but I'm kind of hesitant about putting that out because several of my peers do the 3D print and sell thing, and it's not me trying to be contrarian to them, it's just how I feel personally, because me, when I look at the numbers, given back of the envelope very quick, just doesn't seem like enough money to really make that jump unless you save up a whole mess of it and then hire that employee, and then how much runway do you have? Anyway, that's my headspace now, and if that video has already come out by the time this comes out, let me know what you thought about it in the comments, but that's the behind the scenes, that's my headspace on this. Maybe I'll make it really contrarian and really mean in the video to get more engagement, I don't know. But that's what I've been working on there. That's what's going on in 3D print land for today. I'd love to know what you think about any or all of these projects, or none of them, and just let me know what you think about anything in the comments below. Once again, I appreciate everybody watching so long into the video to answer the questions that I pose toward the end when I go into my endless monologues. Let me know what you think about those. Be sure to like the video because it's the nice thing to do, and of course subscribe for more content like this. I'm the Technicals. See you next time.